You get a track limit violation. You get a track limit violation. Everyone gets a track limit violation. That's what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about the racing, we're here to talk about track limits, because that's all the commentators did at the weekend in the Formula 1. So, did you guys enjoy the track limit fiascos?
No.
Yeah, I did enjoy it.
So,
Well, it was dramatic, and I suppose dramatic in an era of one driver winning every race is something to think about, at least.
True.
sorry Tom, you've just picked up a 5-second penalty in that little bit.
Why?
Apparently.
Yeah, well, what about Nick? He was over limits as well.
Nick's still apparently on his fourth warning, even though I've seen him on TV go off about 8 times.
Yeah.
Also, there's a delay. There's a lag of 5
True,
laps.
yeah. I'll get my penalty in 3 weeks' time.
We'll let you know. So, yes, it was the Austrian Grand Prix from, I always think of it as the A1 ring, but the Red Bull ring. And is it the Styrian Mountains?
Österreich ring.
Yes. So, Red Bull ring, Red Bull dominance essentially is the headline. Max Verstappen top in qualifying, sprint qualifying, and the race. But there was a little bit of intrigue that we can talk about with the leading two Red Bulls, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit there for us to talk about in this episode. Plus, there was some decent battles and a bit of weather as well. So I rather enjoyed it, to be honest. I was just annoyed at constantly hearing about people going over white lines.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into track limits now, or do I actually talk about the racing first and then cover it at the end?
To be honest, it was all throughout qualifying and the races anyway, so we can talk about it whenever.
Exactly. Plenty of opportunities. But it was a sprint weekend, so straight into qualifying on Friday afternoon, or Friday evening, which I quite enjoy, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm down for Friday evening action.
Couple of things.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say on it.
Yeah. Q1 was dry. Normal qualifying was dry.
Mm-hmm.
Q1 was Magnussen, which was maybe the only kind of shock when you see Hulkenberg, what he did.
Yeah.
And we lost Sergio Perez in Q2, started 15th because he kept getting track limit warnings.
Yeah.
Or violations.
Turn 10.
That just annoys me, though. Not the fact that he got the times taken away, but the fact that he didn't drive that tiny bit slower just to get through.
Yeah, it's such a car advantage. There's no need, right?
Yeah.
Is this the third Perez qualifying blunder in a row?
It was
Probably.
4 in a row, isn't it?
It might be 4, yeah.
4 times he's missed out in Q3 in a row. In the fastest car.
Dear, oh dear.
It's not good. Did you see Christian Horner after the race? Or after qualifying?
Yes.
He
That
was
was funny.
fuming. It was hilarious.
Why is he fuming, though? Because they don't care. They don't care about Perez. I'm convinced. It doesn't matter.
Kind of. They need him for points. Not
They don't.
Not for
They don't
drivers'
really.
points, but for championship points. They want to make sure that they win that championship.
The teams.
Which they will,
but
obviously.
They will, obviously. Yeah, exactly. So it's like a faux anger, I think.
Mm.
To sort of say, oh, we really care about Perez, but secretly, oh yeah, fantastic, Max and Paul.
He was upset because it left him 2 Ferraris versus 1 Red Bull, but Max was 25 seconds ahead of the nearest Ferrari at the end anyway, so...
I suppose, I'm jumping ahead a bit, but Leclerc did a smashing job to be that close, and that gave you a bit of false hope, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, upgrades. They're within a 10th. Here we go.
To be fair, in qualifying,
Yes.
they were close. It was 400 a second or something like that. Leclerc second. And Lando Norris up in 4th. He's got the McLaren upgrades, which really worked here. But this is a bit of a weird
Absolutely
circuit.
smashed Piastri.
Yeah, but Piastri didn't have those upgrades.
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten that, and I knew that. Good point. But
And
it could be that those upgrades suit this track. We have to wait and see now until
yes.
the next race to see if it's a big step forward. Same for Ferrari, I think.
yeah, and Piastri was a bit hard done by in a couple of occasions as well.
Q2 also dropped out George Russell
Yeah.
in Mercedes, which was a bit of a shock. They thought they'd be good here. Turns out they were bad here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopeless.
Quite
Woeful.
bad. And Alex Albon got into Q3 again, as did Hulkenberg.
Hulkenback, the Hulk smash on Magnussen so far this year, I think. Not every race, but on whole.
Definitely in qualifying.
And qualifying, to me, is a sign of the driver's still got it. When they age a bit and they've maybe been out of the sport for a bit, you might expect them to qualify poorly. But like Alexander Wirtz when he came back, for example, right? But then do well in the odd race and snag a podium. Hulkenberg's, got the raw speed still.
I mean, was it in... I can't remember which qualifying it was now, but when Sainz didn't set a time, was in the garage the whole time and came out at the end and smashed it.
Yes, that was in sprint qualifying 1.
It was. Thank you. I couldn't remember which one it was.
Yeah, he had 1 lap and he went quickest with it. So sprint qualifying was Saturday morning, and it was... Is it sprint qualifying or sprint shoot? Whatever.
Sprint shootout.
Yes, that thing.
God knows.
It was changeable conditions. It started wet, it was getting drier. But we lost a couple of other big names. Lewis Hamilton is out in Q1. Track limits again, and some Max Verstappen balking eliminated him.
Yeah, that was
not the best performance, was it?
Bad from both of them, really. But Max's was intentional, whereas Lewis's wasn't.
Exactly. Exactly. Hamilton pulled in front of him at the last corner, but then Max just... Surprised he didn't run into him, to be honest. But yeah, he just deliberately did that, which... It was a wee loophole he got away with that, wasn't it? Because he aborted a lap. Because he started at full speed. So he aborted the lap rather than blocking on a cooldown.
Yeah.
Which we all know is nonsense, but gets away with it. Russell was out in Q2 though.
Yeah, just no pace. At least in quali trim.
And then at the front, you had Perez behind Mr. Verstappen, Norris third, and Hulkenberg fourth.
Yeah, brilliant by Hulkenberg.
Bravo, yeah. And Norris, both on to real top form this weekend, I thought. And
Charlie Leclerc picked up a penalty for blocking Oscar Piastri. And Piastri was out in Q1 as well.
Yeah, fully deserved that one.
To reiterate what I've said in previous episodes, I really like the sprint shootout, to get the right name, format. I'd almost vote for that as the main one, but I know I'm in the minority there.
It's frantic.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with, I think it was possibly Lando said, I like it, I just wouldn't want to do it every week.
Fair enough.
So sprint afternoon. It's a wet race to start with. Bottas starts on his formation lap on dries, but comes in for inters on the formation lap. Perez dives up the inside of Max at turn 1, takes the lead, gets a compromised exit, and then doesn't see Max on his right hand side and puts him on the grass.
I'm still not convinced on the doesn't see, but I don't think it was too bad a move anyway.
I don't.
No.
When you watch Max's onboard, Perez's trajectory coming out the corner, as soon as he's clear of the left curb and left, he starts heading right before Max makes the move. So the move is telegraphed. I know they're travelling at 150 miles an hour and it's a second decision. But it's not one of those where, he just moved because Max is alongside him. Like he's steadily moving from left to right, before Max even makes that move. But it would have been embarrassing because he got 2 wheels on the grass there, did Verstappen.
Yep.
That could have been a huge crash. I'm with him there. But I don't really apportion a huge blame to Perez, and obviously the stewards didn't do anything about it, which speaks volumes.
No, and you can always slow down. You don't have to keep...
Exactly. You can always back off. Yeah.
Which he did eventually.
Yeah, but only because he was on the grass. I think Perez has made a legal but hard move there. I understand why Max has blown up on the radio in the immediacy. I don't necessarily like the fact that when the team's saying, well done for the win, he goes, yeah, but that first corner is bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually okay with that. But then immediately after the race, when journalists tried to ask about it, he wouldn't answer it and said it's a non-story, unless you're going to do something anyway for the clicks. It's like, you can't have a go, I don't think, at the media for asking about a race incident for the lead, which hasn't happened since the beginning of the season, arguably.
True.
And with your teammate, there's a bit of an angle there. And when you've chosen to mention it for a second time during the race-winning radio clip, which is known will always be played.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a bit weird.
He gets his revenge, though. He goes full Rosberg.
It was Rosberg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Turn 3, he made it... I'm quite cynical here. He made it look like he was out of control of his car. Right, but having done a lot
Which was like Rosberg in Monaco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Exactly.
Oh, Alonso in Canada, the pit lane when Hamilton was pulled out this season.
Exactly.
Oh, I've had to avoid him.
So he runs deep, apparently, at turn 3. Gets the lead back from Checo. Oh, I felt so sorry for Lando on this. He gets caught behind him.
Yeah.
Car goes
I
into
did.
anti-stall. Just destroys his race.
Yeah, just
But then
slightly
down into-
tighter, he would have had the lead.
Yeah. But then, the one you're about to say, Tom, and at turn 4, I thought this was bad for Max.
Yeah, that was the worst one, I thought.
He makes no attempt to get anywhere near the corner.
Mm.
In my mind, it's more egregious than Perez's move coming out the first corner
Oh, yeah, because it's
by a country mile.
totally deliberate. You can say for the other two that it's not. Or you could...
Yeah, Perez has said, which I don't really believe, he couldn't see him in the spray.
Yeah.
I think it was a deliberate move. I just think it was a fair, harsh move.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when they're talking about, potentially throwing away a result, Max's move at this next corner could have potentially, knocked them both out into the gravel.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly lost Perez a position to Hulkenberg, and then who knows what happens, right? He could have crashed into Hulkenberg, trying to get past him later in the race, and
Yeah, exactly.
impacted the team points even more.
If he had done that on another team, or if he had done that on like a Ferrari or a Mercedes, he would have got a penalty.
Yeah.
Because he had no one.
Do you think?
Yeah, he ran him off the track essentially and gave him absolutely no chance of making the corner.
Hmm.
But Christian Horner is never going to criticise Max, is he?
No.
No. I mean, no team principal is going to criticise their driver ever. But what I would say is you get the impression that even internally, there won't even be a hard conversation about that, I don't think. Max is getting revenge. Oh, have I dropped out?
No?
No.
Oh, right, sorry.
We're just in awe.
So that's that incident covered. And that was the end of the sprint.
No, it wasn't. It was an enjoyable sprint. I was all excited for our boy Hulkenberg at P2.
Yeah, I was.
He's going to get his first top 3, and it's looking good for the first handful of laps, and then his tyres go completely, and he just drops like a stone at that point.
Yeah, it was
a recurring
unfortunate.
theme with this car, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They just chew the tyres like nothing. Ferrari had the same problem, but they think they've fixed it now. So
Yeah, they have a bit more inherent pace as well, so it's not as obvious.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, Ferrari has been pretty poor on its tyre life throughout the year.
The sister Haas, though, does spectacular work getting around outside to George Russell at turn 7.
Brilliant. That's move of the day. Move of the weekend. I'm going to say.
Yeah, he is a good racer, isn't he, Magnussen? He's up and down with his pace all over the place. But in the race, he's great value.
Yeah, F1 will be a poor place without those moves.
Yeah.
Or attempted moves.
I love that middle complex now is an overtaking place. Coming into 4 into 5. That,
They haven't changed the corners, it's the cars that have changed, right?
yeah, essentially.
And it allows them to, ground effect allows them to go around the outside of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. So Hamilton's kind of recovering. He's had a decent start. He's up a chunky places. Lap 10, he's up next to Magnussen. He's up next to Magnussen and manages to get through going outside of turn 6, which is very brave.
Yes.
And everyone's getting past Hulkenberg. It's ruining my hopes. My dreams are dashed again.
Yeah.
Ocon is fighting with Charles Leclerc, and he's driving his usual aggressive style and just isn't letting the Ferrari pass as much. Defending brilliantly, I thought, out of 4 towards the little middle section.
Yeah. He's always very feisty, isn't he? But it's fun.
This sort of fight gets Norris on the back. Sorry, Tom.
No, sorry. Do you think Ocon is smashing Gasly? I'm of the opinion this year that he's... even if they're close sometimes, I expected a bit more from Gasly this year.
Yes, but at the same time, it is a new team to him. Ocon's been there a while.
True.
It's another one of those where I think it needs to wait till the end of the season.
But I just keep looking at Hulkenberg versus Magnussen and think...
Yeah, but Hulk is Hulk. He's jumped in so many cars lately over the last few years that
True.
I think he's used to that.
Gasly did say at the weekend it's been a learning process. Going from the Alpha.
I mean, I would say that if I was being beaten by Ocon.
Exactly. So the fight with Ocon and Leclerc lets Norris get on the back of Leclerc, and Charles makes a mistake at the final corner, and Norris is through. Russell was the first one to go into dry tyres, and he's instantly rewarded. He's super quick, starts coming back through the field. DRS is activated, which gets Stroll past Hulkenberg, and Hulkenberg comes into the pits for dry tyres, which helps him recover some points from the day. He starts fighting back through, gets ahead of Ocon. I think does he get one of the Astons as well as he's going back through? So
I think so.
He did.
No.
Either way, it was quite a risky strategy, wasn't it? I thought at first, but with that, because they were in the points, he was up in 4th, I think, maybe still at that point. But the Astons were looming, and then no, he didn't get an Aston at the end. He got an Alpine towards the end.
Yes.
So you could say net he's lost a couple of positions there, but I think with the tyre wear, the trend was he could have dropped out the points completely. So take the punt. So I think it was right for the Haas car to do that, but it was right for Aston to stay out.
Yeah, they just managed to hold on. It was a second back from Hulkenberg to Alonso, so they just managed to hold on. Lewis pits later than Russell, manages to overtake him in the pit stops, but Russell's tyres are warm, so he gets straight back past, and there's a nice little fight with Hamilton and Leclerc down into turn 4. Hamilton's alongside, but like a few times this weekend, he brakes quite early and almost backs out of it.
Yeah.
But Leclerc runs wide through 4, and it just lets him get through. Good traction, takes the position.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Lewis has been quite hesitant quite a few times this weekend, I thought.
He was complaining about
when
the
he's
brakes.
Not on form, he can't make those clinical moves, I don't think. And I don't want the rot to sit in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think he trusts the car.
Yeah.
So Russell managed to get 8th off of Norris, and he is basically crosses the finish line at the exact same time as Esteban Ocon, practically. I think there is 9 thousandths of a second between them.
Yeah.
For 7th position. But yeah, I felt sorry for Lando on this. He almost had an amazing weekend.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate, wasn't it? What can you do?
I fairly enjoyed the sprint. Nice little half hour on my Saturday evening.
Yeah, mixable conditions always spices it up as well.
Then we had the main Grand Prix, the proper one, on Sunday, which was dry. They kept mentioning rain on the radar and things, which I never believe them. So
no.
Hamilton manages to get past Norris at the start, going around outside. It's line of stern at the front. Leclerc has a go into turn 3, but can't make the move. It's just well defended by Max.
Actual good defence this time, not the savage moves.
Yeah. And turn 1, Tsunoda decides to dive bomb up the inside of Bottas, cuts the back end of Ocon, damages his wing, and then in turn 4 just forgets to brake and has a little trip through the gravel. You watch his onboards, he is nowhere near making that corner.
It was quite funny. It was like one of my manoeuvres on Gran Turismo where it's like, this has gone wrong. I must just avoid the cars rather than smashing into them.
Yes.
It was exactly like that, yeah. Especially in that engine swap time too. Anyway, I did feel a little sorry for him at turn 1. I thought it was actually quite a good move, but just clobbered that curb just at the wrong angle, and it was just unfortunate there was a car there to rip off part of that. Was it his front wing?
Yes.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And then Bottas got somehow caught up and lost a bit of his wing as well, right?
Yeah, he hit the bit of wing that fell off Tsunoda's car.
That's it. Yeah.
It broke his front wing. He kept going
And
with
it was
it, though,
the-
so...
Yeah.
It did, and I thought, ooh, where's the meatball flag?
They said on commentary that this weekend it was up to the teams to decide.
Why is it up to the teams?
I think that's the rule for this year
Ooh, interesting.
in general. But yeah, it's the teams have to decide if it's safe. But yeah, who then overrules the teams if it's clearly not? That's what I don't get.
I can just picture Gunther,
Yeah.
exploding.
You only need 2 wheels.
Well, it was the same with the Alpine at Canada with the wobbly rear wing.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he wasn't called into pits is because Alpine told the FIA it was safe.
Yeah.
It didn't look safe to me, though, that.
No, me neither.
No.
But at the same time, they were
The whole
right.
way of
He did finish the race.
Well, true. I'd slap a flag on it, but there
Yeah.
we go. That's why we're not in the rules for Formula 1.
So the debris at turn 1 causes a safety car, which is in just 2 laps later. Max keeps his lead quite comfortably. Stroll gets past Hulkenberg, and there's a nice little fight forming at the bottom of the points. They've got another Alex Albon train, like we had in Canada. Nobody can match the straight line speed of that apart from...
We need a name for that, because we had Trulli train. We'll come back to it, and Albon something or other.
Yeah, we need to think of a
An
name.
alliteration. Yeah, we've got Kid Mr. Kerfuffle. Oh god, I can say it.
Someone, Crofty, said the word kerfuffle on commentary this weekend, and I immediately thought of you, Tom. It was all the shenanigans at turn 1 and lap 1 he called it a kerfuffle.
He was doing my head in this weekend there, Crofty.
Oh, he's so crap, isn't he?
I didn't listen to him, so...
Well, he was constantly mixing up Ocon and Gasly and several of the other teammates as well. And it was just, it was just getting really annoying.
Like, people make genuine mistakes, and I get it, and it must not be an easy job. But it is your job. It happens every time we cut to a battle. He never gets it right. It's like, I can take a quick glance at the timing screen and I can figure out who it is immediately. Just look to the side, it tells you the order that the cars are in. Or it always calls like a defensive move. He always calls it as an overtake. And like, no, they were in that position already. Ted Crofty. Ted annoyed me as well, but yes. What I did like is watching.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say I did like the fact that when watching the highlights back now, you get alternative commentary, which isn't perfect, but I do prefer it.
No, I was just liking the fact that you was moaning about him getting people's names wrong. And
I know,
you did the same.
I know. It's when I get in a rant about
hypocrite.
When I get a rant about Sky presenters, it just always comes back to Ted.
I'm with you there. I don't think the alternative commentary is the greatest, but I just prefer it.
Yeah,
I prefer it.
It's cleaner, as we'd probably say.
It is, and they've got a bigger vocabulary. A lot of vocabulary. Easy for me to say, and so
we're coming off as such hypocrites here.
I prefer that. Yeah, I know we are. This is moving on. Utter morons.
We should try it ourselves for picking an event and try and do it.
At least we're self-effacing.
Yeah. We know we're crap. So Hulkenberg.
The Albon appendage, no?
Oh, that's just not right.
No. Yeah, we'll think about it. The listeners can send in They're A's that go after Albon.
Yeah.
Right. What happens? Perez is coming through the field, but it's boring. And he does this 10 times a season, and everyone talks about what an amazing drive it is. And it's like, it's not. You're in the quickest car. Coming back from 15
shouldn't have to do
because
it.
you were a tool on Friday.
Yeah.
So, Hulkenberg gets a track limit warning as he pulls off with his with no power.
That was quite amusing.
Counts towards one of his strikes. He retires. Hamilton gets warnings, multiple warnings. Norris is constantly reporting him back on the radio as doing track limits, and he gets a.
Was that being at high school all over again?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he gets a 5-second penalty for that. There's a VSC for
early on.
Yeah, I know. He's got a long way to go. But there's a VSC because of Hulkenberg's car, and there's a bunch of cars coming to their early pit stops. Ferraris missed the pit lane on the first way round when the VSC was called. They decided to double stack, which then caused Sainz places because the VSC ends and they had slow stops. So Sainz loses a few places, but he manages to get them back pretty quickly and easily.
But he's lost a lot of time then to Leclerc.
Yeah.
He's got track position, but he's 12 odd seconds behind his team, whatever it was. The number might be incorrect there. Do you think before that they should have switched the two cars?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Sainz clearly looked quicker. And if he just let him through, give him a few laps. If he doesn't pull away from him, swap him back.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that they could have the swap back arrangement. Although I think it was Tiffany Dillon made a good point, which was, of course, Sainz is close. He had the DRS and Leclerc didn't.
Yes, that's true.
And if he had DRS and wasn't able to overtake, he might not have had the ultimate pace. But I would have liked to have seen it try anyway.
But that's where I'm saying that if you let him through and he doesn't pull away, then you know. If he does pull away, you know he's quicker.
Having said that, they were never going to beat Max.
No.
But you still want to... You never know what else is going to happen in the race, so you have to maximise your own strategy, don't you?
Yeah, I just would want to see someone try and pressure him into making a mistake.
Well, we saw, arguably, with Perez giving the slight squeeze, and look how perturbed he was for that, to do those two manoeuvres.
Yeah.
What we want to see as fans, regardless of who it is, the dominant driver come under pressure.
Yeah.
Max has been getting a lot of praise. I saw a lot after this weekend for how calm and collected he is now. He's driving like Schumacher was and all this, which he is.
It's different.
But you can see as soon as one little thing goes against him, that old Max is still there to jump out.
Yes.
Exactly.
Petulant.
And by the way, Schumacher could be petulant when he wanted to be.
Oh, yeah. Let's just stop at Monaco.
Yeah. People have rose-tinted spectacles, I think, looking back. But that old Max is still in there, and if he was in a title fight, he wouldn't be getting the same sort of praise he is now, because the old Max would come out, I think.
I think that comes across as anti-Max, but it's more anti-domination. That's our stance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just want a battle.
He's not under pressure. It's show jumping for him, as it proved at the end by pitting on the penultimate lap when he's got a 23-second gap.
Yeah.
Comes into pits, puts on soft tires to get an extra point for the fastest lap. Like the confidence needed. The confidence
the team's like,
is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was arguing, wasn't he, with the team almost?
I know. We don't feel it's worth the risk, and it's like, I want everything.
Exactly.
But that's what makes him a great driver.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, it's not a...
And a champion.
Well, yeah. It's just irritating to see when there's no one hassling him.
What frustrates us is there's incredible drivers and they're not being tested.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the worst of the Hamilton years, he wasn't being tested by Bottas. It wasn't the dominance of the Red Bull car. It was close, but this Red Bull car is incredible. Mm-hmm. But there was times where he wasn't pushed by anyone and he won at a canter. And then there was other times where Rosberg pushed him, Vettel pushed him, and you saw fights and you saw cracks and you saw how they respond. And the only time I've seen Max in a title fight He didn't respond well.
Don't mention it.
No, not that. Not he won it in the end. He won it at the end, but he. We saw him driving petulantly and defending unfairly and all this. So I want to see him tested again. I have zero interest in watching another 3 years of this until we get to the next rule change.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen, though.
I know.
And in the Hamilton years, if we were podcasting then, well, we can't say what we would say, but my personal experience was I was switched off when Bottas wasn't challenging Hamilton hard enough.
Yeah.
Like, I was critical during that period. So for Red Bull fans and Max fans, you're doing a fantastic, amazing job. But it's more just domination in Formula One in general, to reiterate that point again. And I was this critical and switched off with the sport when Hamilton was just, like what Colin said, winning on a canter. And that was a very good point to raise, that Hamilton point there, Colin. Thanks.
Vettel in 20.
And by the way, when I was young with Schumacher,
yes.
Some of those years were really boring. Barrichello wasn't allowed to attack. Blah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whereas this one, Perez is allowed to attack. He's just completely incompetent.
Is he though?
Well,
it's a bit of both, I think.
I know. To be fair, we all love Checo. He gets shown up, doesn't he?
It's not going well this year, but I just don't think the team needs to replace him.
No.
They don't want a hot shot.
No.
So that's the scenario.
No. One man that might be
Get Norris in there, though.
Yes.
Sorry. Get Norris in there. Moving on.
Yes. One man that may be getting replaced, though, is Nick de Vries. He's got he's got 4 races to save his career, and this one wasn't going brilliantly either, was it? He was.
I just think it's harsh to put that number on him.
I do as well.
The fact that Helmut Marko came out in an interview last week and said, "I wanted him, but Christian Horner didn't," and he looks like he was right.
It's not ideal, is it?
Who does that? Though?
It's not going to help the lad. But he was in a fight this weekend with Magnussen. He squeezes Magnussen in exit turn 4, which probably borderline, but probably okay. And then on the exit of, I can't remember if that's
6.
5 or 6. It is 6, isn't it?
6.
Magnussen's trying to go around the outside, and he just drives him straight off into the gravel. And he got
just to
penalty.
Interject here with a corner number refresher, which we talk about every year at the Red Bull Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 1 is a corner. The kink down to turn 2 is a corner. Therefore, it's 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
The kink between 3 and 4 is not a corner, for no apparent reason.
Yep.
But the kink coming out of 4 is 5.
Yeah, I know.
So the left-hander 6.
Because depending which track maps you look at, it has 8 corners or 10.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at here is 10.
Yes, that's the official.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So when they're saying on the radio to drivers, it's turn 10, do you think Hamilton could have just got confused between 9 and 10? Maybe Mercedes has an alternative track corner number. I don't know.
Yeah. I love the way they said to him, slow down. Be careful at turn 10. I can't, the car runs wide. Well, then don't use quite so much throttle.
Yeah, it wasn't a good excuse, that was it?
No.
Not a good look.
It's not as bad. I know I'm jumping ahead, but it's not as bad as the one from Carlos later.
Yeah.
Do you think that was ironic, though?
No, I kept saying it. He's trying to intimidate me.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Too right he is.
Yeah.
Oh, Carlos.
Yeah.
So talk about Hamilton. He's got Norris behind him and he's picking up track limits everywhere. He runs deep into turn 3 and Norris finally gets past him into turn 4. We get a wave of penalties from Sainz. I think Tsunoda, Albon. Albon's upset because the first time he hears about track limits is when he gets a penalty. I think Sargent gets... everyone gets penalties.
Yeah. Everyone gets them apart from Verstappen, really.
But Tsunoda serves his wrong, as he always does, and gets a further penalty.
Mm-hmm.
What else is happening?
That's pretty much it at this point, wasn't it?
It's just Sainz. Cut to Sainz Perez.
Sainz Perez. It was a good little battle. Sainz was defending well. He was giving himself the DRS and run down to turn 4 by just hanging back at 3, which took Perez a few laps to figure out. But once he did, he quite easily got past Sainz to take second. Or first.
Canny driving. Yeah, canny driving from Sainz. And I really enjoyed it. But it did feel a bit... There was a sense of inevitability, wasn't there? Because Perez should get passed by Rights. And there's 10 laps left, and you're like, oh, he can't do this for 10, 11 laps.
No.
But he gave it a try, at least.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to see. It probably cost him another track limit penalty later on, post-race. So it really didn't help anybody from the Ferrari point of view, but it was feisty, this race, Sainz. I like that.
Yeah. He wasn't just laying down and letting him through. That's what I like to see.
There was one moment in going into turn 3 where I thought they definitely bashed wheels, but maybe they didn't. But they both sort of converged at one point in the middle.
Yes.
It was like, whoa, what's going on here?
But it changed camera angle, didn't it? Just at the point.
Yeah. It wasn't clear. But it was like a, whoa. That got me sitting up on the seat. Sitting up straight. Oh, whatever.
Got your appendage interested.
God.
The Albon appendage. There you go. I think it's determined.
Exactly. So we get our race result, which a couple hours later is not the race result because Aston Martin appeals it because they don't think that all the track limit infringements have been picked up by the stewards. And they're correct. Esteban Ocon gets about 4 years of penalties.
Yeah.
He gets 30 seconds, which I love. Because the way they decided to introduce a penalty system on the hoof, I think.
Yeah.
Where, I'm going to need to bring this up, but I think was it 3 was a warning? No, 4 was a 5. If you had 4 violations, it was 5 seconds.
Yep.
If you went to a 5th, it got upgraded to 10 seconds. And then they reset the timer, the count. So Esteban Ocon has had 15 track limit infringements.
Oh, wow.
Picked up post race.
Yeah.
So he's got penalties. Albon and Sargent get further penalties. Dick De Vries and Tsunoda also get penalties after the race. Hamilton gets penalties, as does Sainz, which completely messes about the order. So, yeah, track limits.
I'm all for it in a way because, that's how it should be. And if it means now that we're going to have to put gravel back on tracks, then fantastic.
Yeah, that's my view on it.
Bring it on. But what I want to know is, will it be enforced as hard? It doesn't seem to be enforced as stringently as on this track than it does others, but I could be wrong there.
It's more the way this track is, because those 2 corners in particular, you can make quite a lot of time by just running it ever so slightly wider. But for me, the issue is the track, not the track limits.
Right.
Because if you're going to have a white line, you've got to stay within it. It's like saying, you score a goal and it's going, but it was only 2 foot over the line. Shouldn't count. You can't just keep mixing and matching.
No. They used to have the sausage curbs here, which I've been fine.
We don't want that either.
Which
no.
Isn't the answer. It's gravel or it's grass?
For me, I think, because the FIA want them to have gravel, and they've asked them for years to put gravel there, but they don't want to because of the motorbikes. But why can't you just run a strip of grass around the outside? So as if you run wide, you will lose time, but it's not going to, send you off into the gravel.
It's a tricky one as a circuit owner because you're right, you need the MotoGP money as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just have one.
Yeah, hence the chicane that they built for MotoGP. That's not used for Formula 1, but turn 3. 2. 2.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the thing watching this at the weekend where I thought track limits should be enforced in qualifying. But just hearing about it constantly in the race, I was just like, just let it go unless someone cuts a corner. And what was annoying me was it was clearly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Because I tweeted at one point during the race, I've seen Norris go off 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the race, he had 4 infringements. And it's like, come on. And apparently there was about 12 or 1,300 infringements checked during the race.
Wow. Not enough.
But it should be an automated system. It shouldn't.
Yes,
it shouldn't take 4 or 5 laps to check each one, and 2 or 3 hours after the race to go through and check a bunch more. So,
and only because it was protested.
It's just messy, and it's just a terrible look. Like F1's getting quite a bit of stick at the moment because it's not competitive, and then you spend the full weekend with this nonsense. But the drivers just need to stay in the lines, and if they can't stay in the lines, the track needs to change.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the end of all that, Max extends his lead at the championship again. We're back this weekend at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, so I'm quite excited about that. McLaren have got a special livery that they were teasing the old chrome look coming back, and I was majorly disappointed.
It's just the engine cover, isn't it?
And the front line's got a bit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it properly. I've seen that thumbnail of it. I haven't actually looked at a proper image yet. Didn't do enough to make me want to look at it.
Right, it wasn't clickable enough.
No, exactly. I just thought, it's going to be like the last one they did. That was crap.
Yeah.
How long before it appears in the F1 game as a limited time event?
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling it now.
DLC.
Yes. So, McLaren upgrades. I've been interested to see how they work this weekend. Mercedes have upgrades coming, apparently to do with the front wing, front end.
So do McLaren, I believe.
Yawn.
And I think Aston as well, talking about upgrades. So, hopefully everyone's a bit closer to Max.
And for anyone going to the Grand Prix, you'll be able to see Aston Martin's amazing new head office, which is actually very, very impressive. Depending on the entrance routes you take, I'm not sure, but keep a lookout. It's right next to Silverstone. It's wild.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Aston Martin, I have to say, Lance Stroll was much better this weekend, I thought.
He was.
After he gave up in Monaco.
Yeah.
Yes. We've been quite critical of him, and I think deservedly so. So, fair play to you, Nick, for shouting out when he does something okay.
Yeah.
He beat Alonso.
Good point.
He held Alonso off in the sprint, and then he beat him in the race.
Yep. Pulled off a nice overtaking manoeuvre around the outside of turn, 27.
Or did he beat him in the race? He didn't beat him in the race.
It was just a sprint, was it?
Yeah, he beat him in the sprint, I believe, but not the main race.
It was just a sprint, yeah. See, you've got me overpraising him now.
As in Formula 1.
Yep.
Some sad news over the weekend, though. We had 3 passings over the past week. At Spa, a young junior driver, Delano Van Hoff, was killed at the top of the Kemmel Straight in wet conditions. That dominated the weekend, really, because on Saturday, that was announced on Saturday, where the incident happened, I think, in the morning. A lot of the drivers spoke about it post-sprint and post-qualifying. It's obviously another death at Spa, and it raises the question about wet conditions and when these sort of single-seaters should be running.
Yeah, so Anton Hubert died 2019, not too long ago, at the top of Eau Rouge Radion. I just want to make the point that this seemingly was further down the Kemmel Straight. There was an incident at the top there, but that hard to judge, but it might be unrelated. This incident happened, after several cars passing, but the race was under safety car for quite some time, and during that time it got wetter, and with only a couple of laps left to run, the race was restarted, and the spray was really bad. In fact, on the coverage of the race, which is Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, quite the mouthful, you couldn't see this incident, even though the camera was there, because there was so much spray, and obviously the commentator George Morgan was unaware because you just couldn't see the incident. So horrific news, thoughts with friends and family, but also horrific, terrible conditions to race. I think, in my opinion, that's the question. I did see some article and a video by a media outlet suggesting that this is a second incident in the same place at Spa and the corner should be changed. I don't think we should be that rash about it until all the footage or all the full investigation has revealed what's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously tragic news, but yeah, it's the weather is the main issue for me. especially in junior formula, because the cars are not as well protected as the high end ones. They should be much more wary of racing in bad conditions.
Yeah, I mean, we all complained when the Spa Grand Prix didn't happen 3 years ago.
Which makes us hypocrites. Yep.
No, exactly. We want to see the best drivers in the world tested in wet conditions, but the question is, when is the right conditions? And as you've rightly raised, Nick, is it worth it for these young guys in these cars to be risking their lives like that? And in this instance, unfortunately, it seems like the wrong decision was made, or fortune went the wrong way this time.
Yeah, hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and another young driver was unfortunately killed. But the F1 is taking measures to look at the spray. They're testing actually this weekend wheel covers to go on the real wheels to act like mud flaps, which reduce the spray. There's some interesting graphics online which basically show, the angle that the spray normally comes off at, which is basically straight up in the air, near enough, versus what this will do. And it'll keep the spray down to car height, which they're expecting will hopefully increase visibility. You'll be able to see around the spray and through it. But that's been tested this weekend on the cars. I don't actually know if it's due to rain this week, but I imagine they're testing the drive regardless, just to see how they work. So there is steps being taken, but caution is obviously coming back into people's minds about when they should be running. And we had a couple other unfortunate deaths of the weekend. We had Bob Fernley, who was a former Force India deputy team principal. I was a major Force India fan for a good 5 or 6 years. I was a fanboy, so it was a bit sad when I seen that the weekend. And in British Touring Cars, Steve Neal, the team head of Team Dynamics, he passed away, I think, at 82 over the weekend as well, which is also a big loss to the touring car paddock.
Yeah, I'd just like to touch on both of those a little. I don't have much time, but I'll try and be brief. But Bob Fernley was a big shock because I actually interviewed him last year, and I never released it because I feel bad now. I was busy, but I wasn't quite sure if it was right for like a podcast or something. It was him and Manish Kaltapon and a few others because he was involved with the Bolton University engineering and trying to get new people into motorsport through that. And he actually worked for them. He was, you said their deputy team principal, but I don't know if you remember, Colin. He would basically team principal because Vijay Mallya rarely turned up.
He was the face of the team, wasn't he?
He was. Deputy was his official title, but he was the man that was actually running things.
It's the same way that Claire Williams was the deputy team principal.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, good analogy there, or parallel. And he was also the head of the FIA Single Seater Commission for a couple of years, up until 2022. I met him at Bolton University because he was also involved in this Rocket Racing Star program, which was an esports competition, and the winner got a drive in British Formula 4, which has happened. The driver is competing this year on the BTCC support package, finished fourth at last round at Alton Park, which is a great result. I was there to spectate it. So that's Deegan Fairclough, who was one of the winners of that, and he's doing very well this year. So that continues. But Bob was there to make a big speech and talk about the program and his involvement in it. So that was terribly sad passing because when you see someone relatively recently and they seem okay, it hits them harder, doesn't it? And then I think we should talk about Steve Neal, who obviously is Matt Neal's father, and he did win a race in the BTCC back in the 60s when it was called the British
Saloon Car.
Yeah, that's it. And he was actually a Cooper. He drove Minis. He was actually a factory Cooper driver, which is pretty cool. And if you go on the Autosport obituary on the website by Marcus Simmons, there's an amazing picture of him, on the door handles in a Mini against a Ford and another Mini, which is great. But Team Dynamics is a team. They're synonymous with the BTCC, I think, especially in the era we grew up.
Yeah.
The privateers through the 90s. So founded in 93, although they did compete in 92 under Rimstock Racing.
Oh, yes.
Which Matt Neal took out Colin McRae at Knock Hill that year. In controversial circumstances. That was their debut year. And then,
Surprised he's been allowed back into Scotland after that.
I know, that is a big... Yes, apparently there was some argy-bargy after the race. Oh, no, sorry, it was the other way around. I've got it completely wrong. Neil was taken out by McRae. There we go. That's why he's allowed back into Scotland.
Fair enough.
And maybe Steve Neal was the aggressor there, allegedly. So there's that. But also, I think I just wanted to point out, he founded the company Rimstock, who makes wheels. And the team was to help promote the wheel business. And they actually sold it in a quote-unquote multi-million deal in 2016. Did the Neils. So that, we often think about his team management role and getting Honda on board and Halfords and things like this. But there was also the business side behind the scenes. And actually, Rimstock wheels, even though they're owned by a different company now, that is every wheel in the BTCC grid. That is the standard part from their company. So I suppose his legacy will live on through that. It's just a bit of a shame that Team Dynamics isn't in the BTCC this year.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. But hopefully we'll see them back.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So again, our regards.
Guest entry in the next round would be nice.
Yeah.
I did see that some of the Super Turns were on this weekend. Was it Brands Hatch?
They were. With Anthony Reid.
Yeah.
And Radicic was driving. Jake Hill won the races, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. And they had one of Steve Neal's Hondas. They put that at the front of the grid. As sort of
really?
a ceremonial tribute to them at the during the race and at the weekends.
Nice touch. And I saw Alan Menu did some demo runs in a Williams Renault as well, I think. He wasn't in the race, but he did drive some laps. But those Super Tours cost an arm and a leg to run. So
yeah.
Well done for anyone involved in running that. And I also just want to shout out, a bit random for us, for our podcast, but Peter Horbury, who was the head of Geely Design, which is a Chinese car company that owns Lotus and Volvo. And he passed away after designing many a great Volvo, turning that company around at 73 while on a business trip, sadly. But he allegedly, I was reading an Instagram post by another car designer, Peter Stevens. He linked together Tom Walkinshaw, TWR, and Volvo, instrumental in them entering the BTCC with that estate car back in the day. So another regards to friends and family.
Yeah, a sad end to the podcast, but we'll be back next weekend with the British Grand Prix. There was a British Touring Car test today, mid-season tyre test. Don't know if you guys have any news from it.
There was a couple of debutantes for the Team Hard. Daryl DeLeon and Nathan Harrison, who got some seat time. It's always good to see. I believe it was a tyre test, isn't it, this one mostly?
Yeah, good year test.
So the times aren't particularly significant, but it was interesting to see Aaron Taylor-Smith was right up there.
Tom Shelton, I think, was quickest in the morning session as well.
Yeah, Ingram quickest in the second. It's good, hopefully, in terms of it's more track time for teams. So I hope someone takes it to Sutton, like people, we want people to take it to Verstappen. Although the points gap is close in the standings, easy to forget that.
Yeah.
But you hope teams that have slightly fallen behind a bit, like I think Toyota, hopefully this was beneficial to them. But I'm not entirely sure the Hondas were running at all.
No, I was just trying to work out who was missing, and yeah, that would make sense.
And that's a bit of a shame because I think they need it. But if budgets are budgets, then so be it.
Yeah, that must be the only reason.
It's weird that it was at Donington Park and not Snetterton. But I think they were running the longer layout, which will be used later in the season as well. So
they were.
It
was the Melbourne layout, I think they call it these days. Melbourne layout. So, yeah, I suppose that'll help them get their eye in for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we'll be back next week with the British Grand Prix, our home race, which will be epic, and someone new will win.
Yay!
Okay, I'll go with it. Yeah, woo!
I'm interested to see what reception Max will get.
Polite applause.
It's not normally popular, but we'll wait and see. There's a lot of Red Bull fans when I was there a few years ago.
Well, Milton Keynes is just down the road.
True.
Exactly.
So it's more their home race than Austria, especially considering Red Bull is from Thailand.
Yes, originally it was Thai, wasn't it? Or was it Singapore? No, it was Thai. You're right.
I think it was Thai.
It was Thai. Yes. Dietrich Mateschitz, they had a little tribute to him at the weekend as well.
Ah, yes.
First race back at the Red Bull Ring since his passing. Okay, we'll end there. We'll keep going. So we'll be back next week, British Grand Prix. We'll see you then. Like, subscribe, download, buy your energy drink. That's what people have these days. And yeah, we'll see you then.
Can't wait.